Hello guys, today we'll be doing a Godzilla X Imposter Scaling for part 4, 1 out of 2, all the way to part 5, 1 out of 4. So for part 4, 1 out of 2, Godzilla X Imposter, Godzilla, he's infinitely more powerful than he was in part 3. And he was able to go toe to toe with Hell Godzilla. And since it's a different cosmology than the Hell Godzilla cosmology, meaning that his feats might just be different here because Hell Godzilla could do something similar to GXI Godzilla, but Hell Godzilla was able to overpower GXI Godzilla when he was going at 0% power. He was able to actually beat him. Hell Godzilla, unlike GXI Godzilla, doesn't just sit around and laugh at his opponents and not even try. Hell Godzilla was going all out. Not all out, but actually trying, while GXI was holding back the entire time. It's just once GXI got a little frustrated, things changed, and he was easily able to beat Hell Godzilla. If they were to fight longer, he would eventually kill Hell Godzilla. So he scales above that. And for more things, in Godzilla X Imposter Part 2 of the Part 4 saga, the Omniversal God, which is weird because he created all of this, and the creator, the guy with the halo, I'll show a picture of him in the video, who basically can create everything. He can create a whole other omniverse. He can create infinite omniverses. The Omniversal God created him. And basically, the Omniversal God's the embodiment of all creation in this Godzilla X Imposter universe, not in all of fiction. That would be really weird. But the Omniversal God is able to just instantly create more of these creators to do his bidding. And this is a big, spoiler warning if you haven't watched any of my other videos, even the Battle Royales, Godzilla vs. Fire Wars Godzilla, MVX Final Wars Godzilla, Godzilla vs. Heisei Godzilla, all of those, this is a big spoiler for basically everything. You see, every time there's a portal that takes a character to a new ground, it's not like it just happens, it's actually the Omniversal God, and let me explain. So the Omniversal God has the ability to bring characters into other realms to fight. And he's doing this just for entertainment, while the creator, who we saw in Godzilla vs. Ava, was able to bring back all of creation, which means Ava Godzilla is probably somewhere with Imposter Godzilla. Yeah, you haven't seen him in a while. He might scale to Imposter Godzilla. He was able to destroy all creation, but not the creator, which we'll have to scale him up below, and we'll get to what the Imposter Godzilla can do later. But the creator was able to snap back off existence easily. And remember, this is an extension of the Omniversal God. So I'm telling you that this feat is pretty insane. But the thing is, he did destroy heaven, hell, the physical realm, everything. Except for the Omniversal God and the creator. Well, he didn't even touch the Omniversal God. He might have touched his avatar, but his true form is in a void. The avatar just sits around waiting for something to happen until he's needed to maybe erase an infinite timeline, Godzilla, or just destroy stuff, or get rid of unwanted characters, because he has done that in the past to a certain character that we've seen. And it's the reason why one character looks the way he does. Because the Omniversal God is able to corrupt whole entire infinite timelines and destroy them, killing all and corrupting all and disintegrating it, leaving no trace, erasing it from all infinite realities and everything. Every timeline they're erased from, permanently. There's no coming back from that. And Omniversal God has been watching Godzilla vs. Ava and sees him as a threat, but not really a threat, as just a very powerful character. Ava and Godzilla were very powerful and able to destroy everything. And since I'm going to go with that, he had the creator fix up his mess, because Omniversal God created it all. The creator would have to do that. So also, when a character dies, like in all my battle royales and all my death battles, their soul goes up to heaven, where the creator is. And the creator can just bring back certain characters that the Omniversal God wants to see in another fight. So he's basically like a guy who creates everything and just watches his characters fight for entertainment. And some characters, especially Godzilla, hates this. And we saw the first time Godzilla saw the Omniversal God when he came back, he had tried to attack him. Not even the other guys. He did it way before the other guys. For some reason, Godzilla wants this guy dead. And I'll explain that more in Godzilla X Imposter Part 2. in part 3 of the part 5 saga. But for when we get to the creator is slightly stronger than Godzilla and Voidzilla. Voidzilla has the power, basically, he's boundless and also omnipotent / omniversal. He's able to destroy everything. And like we saw in part 1 of Godzilla X Imposter, the first one, and not Godzilla Destroy It, just the Godzilla X Imposter saga altogether. Part 1, part 2, Voidzilla gets more powerful, infinitely more powerful the longer he's in a fight. Godzilla just keeps getting more powerful, which is a massive threat. But even him and Godzilla was able to match a very insanely suppressed Godzilla. Godzilla wasn't able to touch until he knocked his soul out of his body using some Doctor Strange move and erased his soul and erased him from existence, but the two were able to survive that. But even with that, Godzilla was the first one to actually do make GXI Godzilla pissed. They pushed him out of his suppressed state. And even with the help of Godzilla, their beams alone weren't even able to hurt the creator. And here's where GXI Godzilla comes in. This is when things get kind of interesting. Because Godzilla in this was able, when he fired his beam at the Universal God, which, yes, it hurt him. It pierced through his core, his avatar's core, which we all know is much weaker than his true form. We saw it pierce through the core. The Universal God's not pissed. So he creates a portal. He turns his core into a portal, which is a vortex that sucks the beam, and he spits out another spot. And what does it do? Hit Godzilla. And remember, his force field doesn't have any special effect. It just blocks everything. It warps things that hit it. Like Godzilla's sword that can destroy infinite timelines and can erase things from existence if used at its potential. That it can be used for that too. And basically able to cut through everything except for GXI Godzilla. This sword deflected and actually warped off it. When the beam, Godzilla X Imposter's beam, hit it, which was already infinitely more powerful than part 4, 2 out of 2 for the Infinite Spiral Heat Ray Phase 1, which makes his beam infinitely more powerful every time he uses it, and also it stacks. So even when he has to lose the form, because that form has a long cooldown, has like some cooldown, give it like 10 minutes. He just can't spam that form because it's not his true form, burning form. When he's done with that form, the beam, the infinite buff, it stacks on. And it actually can go higher than infinity. It's immeasurable. Like you cannot count how high. It's uncountable how strong his beam can get. Because it just keeps going. And his beam that is already buffed by infinity and stacked on into his form that he isn't involved, can't even pierce his shield. It actually deflects his shield, and we go on to a feat we saw in part 4, 2 out of 2. It's when his beam got infinitely more powerful from the Universal God's force field, was able to pierce right through all dimensions. It literally went through the entire universe. It destroyed right through without any difficulty. And it got infinitely more powerful again and hit Godzilla. He had a shield down and he tanked it. And that is why he had the Infinite Heat Ray, Spiral Heat Ray Phase 1. Because he getting hit with his beam that was multiplied by infinity twice just powers him up. It doesn't hurt him. It actually damaged and severely burned Hell and Godzilla. They just regenerate really fast. It let them knocked out for a good amount of time, even though Godzilla took the beam. And this is where things get crazy. The beam that he fires off again is infinitely more powerful than the beam he got hit with. And this is not even part 5. Now in part 5, he's able to do this with his base beam without any using a buff to do it or getting someone's force field to buff. The beam just heads through the dimensional borders, breaks him, can go at immeasurable speed. There's you can't measure it. It just instantly goes through it. And it reaches the creator, in quotation marks, since he's the creation of the Universal God to basically clean up the mess and create stuff. And hits him. And it's not even Hell Godzilla or Voidzilla's beam that does anything. It was just probably annoying him. It splits him through the middle instantly, killing him. And remember, the creator is scaled slightly higher than both Hell and Voidzilla. GXI Hell Godzilla. This is insane. Excuse me. Again, when the creators brought back to life from the Omniversal God, it goes down to Imposter and the other crew of either random Godzilla X Imposter knockoffs or just our secondary crew of Void, Blockzilla, Blockzilla Jr., Block Dest, Godzilla vs. Monkey Godzilla, Dio Gojira, Monkey, almost got me saying Triangle, and Blockzilla Jr. or Blockzilla. And remember, Blockzilla, which I posted earlier, is physically stronger than Voidzilla in Part 4, 1 out of 2. And he's already high on Omniversal in base form. And this guy, again, scales lower than the creator, which is insane, and Hell Godzilla. The creator would beat him low to mid dip, while the creator would beat Jack Godzilla would just instantly eviscerate this guy. There's no saying that this guy's close. And when these guys all fired their beam at the creator, it did nothing. Absolutely nothing. This guy scales closer to Voidzilla than almost everyone who's up there. The Imposter does scale close to Blockzilla. They are pretty much even in power, but Blockzilla and other guys' beams weren't able to do anything. And Mechagodzilla, who was probably a heated topic, because he was able to easily beat Voidzilla really fast. But he scales at his strength and attacks itself. Kind of like how Centroverse has his character, Kong, who is basically very powerful but not as durable. If I'm correct me if I'm wrong. Mechagodzilla can output an insane amount of power with all his lasers, futuristic weapons, and all his abilities. But his durability is really limited. His durability is probably high Omniversal, or maybe low hyper or high multiversal, while his power is definitely Omniversal. His chest beam, which is 500 billion times, I hope I said the number right, more powerful than his mouth laser. The chest beam is his most powerful beam that he has currently. He does have a cannon on his back, which would be his most powerful attack, but he hasn't been able to use it. He doesn't have enough energy to use it right now. He will use it later. But with that, his beam, Junior's beam, Dest's beam, Blockzilla's beam, and some other beams were not even able to hurt the creator, just annoy him. He was able to one-shot the other characters from other realms, just leaving Monkey Godzilla, versus Monkey Godzilla, Dio Gojira, and the Block crew, and the Imposter. I just noticed that the part I was saying didn't really record, so I'm just going to summarize it. So Godzilla X Imposter Godzilla does all of these crazy things in base form, and I forgot to make it clear, but yeah, he did all this omniversal blasting feats and destroying feats in base form. So Central first, there's your clarification. He did it all in base form, and he has the infinite spiral hit rate phase 1 up to phase 3 or 4 that he can use, which is kind of insanely powerful. But yeah, he's also capable of destroying basically everything. And he's going up against someone, the Omniversal God, who was scared of Godzilla. So that's why he separated, Voidzilla and Hell Godzilla from him. He knew that Godzilla X Imposter Godzilla could easily beat him alone. But with the other two, it would just be a wipeout, not even fair. So he teleported him away. And I'll make a part 2 on this video soon, maybe tomorrow, but I'm just going to summarize something. His infinite fire heat rate things phase 1 through phase 2, which he used in GXI Part 5 Saga 1 out of 4 with the Avatar-like projection. That form is nowhere as powerful as his red spiral ray forms, which he will use. The red spiral ray forms are way more powerful than the phases of the infinite spiral heat ray. That's not the true one, but once he gets into the actual, his final form, which is blocked because of his mental blocks and all of that stuff, which he can unlock if someone he really cares for dies or get hurt, or he really needs to do it because someone's really overpowering him. He can do it. And then you see his chest that has the effect of like an energy pulse on it when he fires a beam. It's getting more and more like powerful and more like obvious to see each time he uses it. It's because he's releasing the energy from inside and uncovering his true power. But the spiral heat rays are just more powerful than the phase 1 infinite spiral heat rays. And all the stuff that he's doing in base form and the infinite spiral heat ray phase 1, blah blah blah, those are technically extensions of his base form. Trying to reach the full power of his base form, we'll have to go to the spiral ray part. Like the red spiral rays will reach the full power of his base form. But once he does that, then he'll have to go to his final form. And he's impervious to basically all damage. Nothing can hurt him. And now going on the fact that he's impervious to basically all damage, we're going to have to go with one of my other favorite creators, Centroverse, his Godzilla, Vengeance vs. Godzilla. His burning form, I heard, is probably actually more powerful than base GXI Godzilla. And it's very hard because the GXI Godzilla has the infinite spiral heat ray in phase 1, but technically not the complete one, and his red spiral ray clones, which you have the red spiral ray, and then the burning spark or Kaiser red spiral ray in part, in Godzilla X Imposter Part 5 Saga 3 out of 4. But it's just that, however long, it's just that the GXI Godzilla's force field, since it's reflecting everything, anyone who beams him will just get their beam knocked back at him if he has the need to reflect it, even though he can just tank it anyway. And back to his scaling, he basically able to do all this stuff. The Omniversal God is increasingly empowering himself by continuously absorbing power from the Omniverse, from the Hyperverse, which is actually just part of the Omniversal God, since everything's an extension of him. All of existence that goes Omniversal and beyond is just part of him. And he's just absorbing it and making it more powerful. And remember, this is his avatar. His avatar, physical avatar compared to his true form, there is no comparison. His true form would instantly smite this thing without any difficulty. His true form, who lives in the void, who can come into the physical realm but just chooses not to, and has his avatar who he can control and do it. But Godzilla in base form, they're able to match the Omniverse God's avatar, which the avatar alone, who the Omniversal God created, and then after creating the avatar, the Omniversal God decided to create the creator after creating all of his creations to control everything and have heaven and control who gets into that or who goes to hell, basically, and to watch over and clean up any of the messes of his creations. So, yeah. Also, the Omniversal God tried to do something really nasty to GXI Godzilla. As you saw, he gets sucked into like some vortex, which he's able to do. What he's basically doing is trying to erase Godzilla X Imposter from the plot. Yeah, you heard me. He's trying to erase him from the plot. It's kind of stupid, because it doesn't like specifically say that when he does it. And he will do this again later in the series. Like, I will explicitly say it or have it written down on paper that he's doing it. That he's just trying to be like, let me write this down. Since I'm all powerful, let me erase him from the plot. Yeah. He's constantly, at a constant pace, or a constant time, he's erasing him from infinite timelines, all of any version of him, and from the plot. Which he does, not complete, unfortunately for him. Because he just gets out there even more pissed, and even more powerful. So basically, the more damage you do to him, he will get more powerful. And he can basically box with anyone. And I'm just going to say his base form scales above the Omniversal God's physical avatar by at least 100,000 times at lowest. and 75 million times at highest, if I'm going to be generous, but would probably be at 50 million at highest if you're going to scale him above. And that's his base form when he's not powering himself up with his extension of base form power and power-ups like the Infinite Spiral Heat Ray phases. But it's like once he gets to his Red Spiral Ray forms, the base Red Spiral Ray, which is, okay, Red Spiral Ray is a different form, not his base form. But once he gets to the base version of his Red Spiral Ray, then the Kaiser Spark Red Spiral Ray, then that's when things will get different. Because currently, him versus the true form of the Omniversal God is interesting. The Omniversal God's true form, which I'm just going to give a small ability thing, he might negate all of Godzilla X Imposter's attacks, but he won't kill him. He can't basically kill him right now. Not possible. That's all I'm going to say. So, Godzilla X Imposter Godzilla, in base form, scales above everyone's his verse, and could easily one-shot all of existence, just cleaving obviously the true form of the Omniversal God. Yeah, he could one-shot all of his versus existence in base form without even trying. I would even say that Part 4, or at earliest Part 3 version of GXI Godzilla Evolved, could do this if we generously scale him up to his highest. And when you get to the Part 4 and Part 5, they could easily do it too. I will add more in-depth scaling later, but right now, this is all I'm going to say about him, and goodbye. The mask creates stuff, and it hits him. And it's not even Hell Godzilla or Voidzilla's beam that does anything. It was just probably annoying him. And it splits him through the middle, instantly. Healing him. And remember, the creator is scaled slightly higher than both Hell and Voidzilla. GXI Hell Godzilla. This is insane. Excuse me. Again, when the creator is brought back to life from the Omniversal God, it goes down to Imposter and the other crew of either random Godzilla X Imposter knockoffs or just our secondary crew of Void, Blockzilla, Blockzilla Jr., Block Dest, Godzilla vs. Monkey Godzilla, Dio Gojira, Monkey, almost got me saying Triangle, and Blockzilla Jr., or Blockzilla. And remember, Blockzilla, which I posted earlier, is physically stronger than Voidzilla in Part 4, 1 out of 2. And he's already high Omniversal in base form. And this guy, again, scales lower than the creator, which is insane, and Hell Godzilla. The creator would beat him low to mid dip, while the creator would beat, Jack Godzilla would just instantly eviscerate this guy. There's no saying that this guy's close. And when these guys all fired their beam at the creator, it did nothing. Absolutely nothing. This guy scales closer to Voidzilla than almost everyone who's up there. The Imposter does scale close to Blockzilla. They are pretty much even in power, but Blockzilla and other guys' beams weren't able to do anything. And Mechagodzilla, who's probably a heated topic, because he was able to easily beat Voidzilla really fast. But he scales at his strength and attacks itself, kind of like how Central Verse has his character, Kong, who is basically very powerful, but not as durable. If I'm correct, correct me if I'm wrong. Mechagodzilla can output an insane amount of power with all his lasers, futuristic weapons.